Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Live and Learn with Gemini Goddess. I'm your host, Gemini Goddess. Tonight isn't just another episode. Tonight is a conversation about identity, transition, and resilience. Ooh, I can't speak. And what it means to evolve. This platform has always been about growth. And tonight, we're leading into that. Our guest, his journey spans from Montego Bay to England to Canada. And his story reminds us of where you begin does not define where you end up. So please help me welcome author, entrepreneur, and community voice. Please welcome Reedy Reed of Reedy Media Group to the stage.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, sir. Are you able to turn on your camera?
Yeah, man, definitely.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so for all those people who are just meeting you, introduce yourself.
Okay, my birth name is Edsel Albando Reed. I go by media platform name Reedy Reed or Reedy. I'm an advocate for women and children. I am a social media influencer. I am a girl's dad. I have 4 beautiful daughters. Yeah, so far, yeah. Born December 30th, 1978. So I'm 47-year old. Just celebrate my 47th birthday.
A man who isn't afraid to say his age. Good on you. I love it. Welcome, everyone. Okay. So we're just gonna dive into it. So Reedy is the author of a book. The book is called Born in the Ghetto. And his book is basically about his life, right? So let's start at the beginning. What was life like for you growing up in Montego Bay?
Well, I grew up in an inner city community that is called Salt Spring. You know what I mean? I grew up in the early 80s, where politics and the streets weren't nice. You know what I mean? Where, you know what I mean, hardship faced a lot of young black Jamaican living in the inner city community where, you know what I mean, the struggle is real. You know what I mean? So I grew up with a poor family, if I may say. A family that is consists of 3 boys and 2 girls, but I would have had two another brother and sister outside by my dad's side. So it wasn't all glory. Was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of, you know what I mean. If I put it in one word, it would be a lot of sufferation. But through it all, you know, fight to be, you know what I mean, who I am today.
Okay. So I understand that. As a child, I was born actually right in the middle of the 1980 election in Jamaica. So you know how that
Yeah.
is. Yeah. So when you think about your childhood, what moments do you think like shaped you the most?
It would have to be the what my mom and my dad would have said, especially my mom, who believed in the Christian faith, who believed in God so much that, as I would have wrote in the book, no matter what is happening, she'll be calling on the name of Jesus. So I feel that would be one of the things that has shaped me, that has protect me, guide me. One of the things that has molded me. One of the things that has uplifted me and brought me through everything that I've gone through in life.
Most most definitely. And you know what? I really connected with that part of the book because when you were writing about your mom and her prayers, it gave me a lot about a lot of reminders of my grandmother. May she rest in peace. But she raised us, and that's what like she leaned on power and faith, and all those for us Saturday, Sunday. church, you know? So
Exactly. For me, it was it was a everyday. It's like I went to church every day. Like every day there was something different. On Saturdays, you know, what I mean, it would have been the cleaning day for church, and we would still go at the church with my mom, who is very active in the church, and then Sunday church, and we did it all over again. So it was like church every day for me.
yeah, but you know, the good thing about that is it builds a strong foundation in you, right? Because the church is not just like, you know, a religious um building, it's like a community, like, you know, it instills like a stronghold in you. So that's one good thing about being growing up in the church is, you know, that uh, but now you're looking now that you're looking back, what's something that that you didn't understand then as a child, but now you understand, like, you know, where, like, you know, based on like your parents, like where they're coming from, and you know.
Yeah, I would say being a parent. So I never understood what it meant to be a parent. I never understood what it meant going to bed without eating, but making sure that your kids eat. I never knew what it meant sacrificing everything for your children. I would have watched my mom and my dad sacrifice everything they have for their children. I would watch my dad and my mom go to bed, give us what they have. You know what I mean? Sometimes I talk about it, you know what I mean? Fried dumpling and egg, you know what I mean? Porridge, rice porridge, you know what I mean? And they would ensure that we eat and our belly was full before we went to bed. And then having kids of my own, then I would have realized that what the sacrifice that they made, because now you're in the position to make the same sacrifice or even more, and you would have looked at it and said, whoa, you know what I mean? So you know would have appreciate your mother and father more now after you got kids than you did then, because you're saying like the sacrifice that I am going through in a time that has evolved, comparing to a time when, you know what I mean, things were so hard. You know what I mean, you have to love on your parents more.
Most definitely. So part of your book that, you know, without getting into too many details, because y'all need to go on Amazon and order your copy yourself. So we're not going to tell you everything that's in the book, but I'm going to tell you it is a good read. I read it in one day. It is a good read. And, you know, for those who want to fast and read his business, that's how you get to do it.
Yeah, but
so, so, like, we know you're here in Canada now, but you know, in your book, it was revealed that your first time traveling actually wasn't to Canada. So, you want to touch base a little bit on that, like what it was like for you leaving Jamaica?
yeah, so I have to talk about before I even get into it. I have to talk about my friend Kemar. His name is Kemar Keen. He's not even a friend anymore. He's like brother. He's family. And I remember I worked in the hotel industry in Jamaica, Sunset Beach Resort and Spa, and I remember, you know, what I mean, at the end of one of my contract, they didn't sign it back, but Kemar kept, you know, what I mean, doing what a friend did, you know what I mean, or should. He would have checked in on me, make sure, you know what I mean, if there's any football game we're going together. If he's playing football, he would have called me. Yo, they call me Bundy then, you know what I mean? It's like Bundy, let's go play football and all of that. And his mom migrated to Canada, I'm sorry, to England. And he decided to go to England. But going to England, he would have said to me, Bundy, I want you to come to England also. So when I go, you know what I mean? Not long after I leave, I want you to come, and he kept that promise. He stayed true to that promise, and what he did, he went to England and he did everything to get me there. So that's my first move. I went to England, first time flying, first time going on a plane, you know what I mean? And doing all of this, I'm doing it by myself. It was an experience, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? One that it was frightened, because you know what I mean, I've always traveled in a bus or a car. I've never been in a plane looking down, and you know what I mean, you're shaking, you know, in like you're sitting there but you're shaking like you're, what's gonna happen. And it was a long flight too, 9 hours from Jamaica to England. So it was a long flight, and then got to England, and you know what I mean, went through horrible immigration. Im- the immigration was horrible because it was a New Year Jamaica flying to England, and most of the plane, everybody had something from it be drugs to false passport, false birth certificate, and the whole plane were basically put, you know what I mean, in a room, and they kept coming for us one by one. I'll give that experience. I remember sitting in that room, and I got there 6 in the morning. I never got out until after 12 midnight, and the reason I was in there so long is like, so I was sitting there, I wasn't eating because I was worrying, trying to figure out what is happening, why I'm here so long. And the immigration officer came for me once. They brought me to a room where they x-ray my belly. I still didn't know what it was. They brought me back. I was there again. I sat for a few hours. They came back for me a second time, did the same procedure with me, and they brought me back because they stripped me down to my boxers, and they came for me a third time and did the same thing to me. And when I got back to the room, I remember it like it was yesterday. There was a guy sitting eating his fish and rice and peas that he brought up from Jamaica, and he was like, "Yo, man, what's up?" I mean, I like, "Yeah, what's up?" He says, "You know why they keep coming for you?" And I said, "No." He said, "You know what? When a person is bringing drugs into the country, and they have drugs inside them, they don't eat, because when they eat, they'll pass the drugs out. So they're watching you, and they realize that you're not eating. So you need to get something to eat." So at that time, now I'm like, okay. So I went to a machine. I got a coffee. I got a sandwich. I eat, and then they came for me like maybe about half an hour to 45 minutes after. And that's where my journey started in England. They gave me 1 day in England. Based on what was happening, they were like, okay, you can go to your family and come back to go home tomorrow. I never came back until 3.5 years later.
You can tell that was back in the day because they
Yeah,
wouldn't do that now. They would put you
no,
on a plane and send you right back.
exactly.
Yeah, I remember. You know what? I remember those. I remember those times when Air Jamaica was getting a lot of scrutiny for the things that was going on it, and a lot of people had hard times traveling and stuff like that. And it's unfortunate that because of the actions of some, we all
Yeah,
get put
yeah,
under. Yeah, but
true, true, true. But it was England was an experience. England was an experience. Again, I am in a land I'm far away from, and one of the things, you know, as we talk about parents, my mother kept me like every day. This woman would call. Every day this woman would pray. You know what I mean? Every day this woman would talk about God. You know what I mean? I remember them like, yo, this woman never lets me out, left me out. She's always calling. Make sure you go to church. I had to find church to go. Make sure you pray. Make sure you pay your tithes and offering and all these things. And you know what I mean. It was one of the thing. She was one of the person who kept me sane, because again I was in a land by myself, a place that I didn't know. I never know how it worked, how it functioned, but you know what I mean, I did it all by the grace of God. You know, let me say that.
I'm sure, like, between Jamaica and England, it was a total culture shock for you. So, well, what was like your first impression of England? Like,
Oh my God. It was whoa. When you talk about culture shock, my God. I remember the summers, and the summers would stand still, the heat would stand still. There was no breeze. I can remember those one. No breeze, the heat would stand still, and then in the cold, it was my first time experiencing snow and coldness, and it was like, you know what I mean, because when I got there too, it was like the ending of winter, right? But still wasn't like going through spring that is still cold, and I was telling you, man, whoa, it was it was different. It was really, really different. And you know what I mean, trying to cope, you know what I mean, I would put on the various three socks, a merino two shirt, a long sleeve shirt, a pullover, then my jacket, and I would still be cold. And I was like, why am I cold? You know what I mean? But after years of being there, then you know what I mean, not to dress too much because your clothes would trap the cold, and because you sweat, you get colder. But it was different taking the buses, you know what I mean, not knowing the places, you know what I mean. You just know that you don't come off the bus until you get into the city center. That's what they call it in the because I lived in Birmingham. And then when you're going back home, you take the same bus and you don't get off until you see, because you have to know, you know what I mean, mark a place to say, once I see this, I'm gonna press the buzzer. So the next stop, I know I get off and I find home. But it was different. It was different. I remember working and you know what I mean, people saying fag, can I have a fag? Back home we know what fag means, but in England a fag is a cigarette.
Yeah.
So when somebody came, I remember the first time a guy came up to me and said, "Hey, do you have fags? Can I get a fag?" And I'm like, "What's wrong with this guy?" You know what I mean? I'm starting to get upset because I'm like wondering, this guy's asking me for a fag like I have, you know what I mean, these kind of people around me. And it was a Sri Lanka guy, Abdul, I can't forget his name, who told me, he says, "Yo, Al, a fag is a cigarette." You know what I mean? I know you're from the Caribbean. I know what fag mean in the Caribbean, but in England it's a cigarette. So it was different. It was way different. And then working, you get like 150 pounds for the week, and 150 pounds may sound little bit, but 150 pounds was a whole lot of money at the time.
But comparing to what you were getting in Jamaica.
Wow, it was a whole lot of money. And then you're looking at it, but it can buy so much. You got 150 pounds, but it can buy so many things in England. You know what I mean? Can keep you until your next paycheck and you still have leftover.
Your fans are bigging you up in the comments.
Oh, big up, bless up, bless up, bless up.
Yeah, the thing is, it's like I remember my stepsister when she first came here, right? And the difference between Jamaica and Canada. Like for me, I came at a very young age, so like, the experience wasn't as extreme as it would be for an adult. But I remember my stepsister the first time she came here, and she had $40.
Yeah,
And we brought her to the dollar store. Now, Jamaica. And she went in the dollar store and she's like, and them times there, the dollar store was a dollar store. Everything was actually for a dollar. She's like,
yeah,
"For 40 things, I can get 40 things in here." I'm like, okay, well, there is the taxes, so you can't exactly get 40, but yeah, pretty close to it. Like she
yeah.
was so excited, like this girl went crazy. She was buying like clocks, all like stuff that wasn't, but just the shock of coming from Jamaica and you can go in a store and get something for a dollar, and it was
True,
a
true.
different experience.
It is, it is, it is, it is. England was a different experience, you know what I mean? And then one of the things is everywhere you're going, you have to put it on your phone. Those times it was BlackBerry, but still, you know what I mean? You have to make sure that you know where you're going or you'll get lost, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think the most taxis I've taken is in England because, you know what I mean? I never knew where to take the bus now. You know what I mean? But after being there for a while and getting used to England, then you know what I mean, it was easy getting around in the last days before I went back home.
While you were living in England, like did you experience like any type of change in yourself, like the change, like in your, like as a person, like what kind of change happened with you then from the person you were in Jamaica to the person now in England?
All right. So one of the things that I never knew about was dating. Because in Jamaica, it would have been different. You see a girl, you like a girl, and you and the girl start talking, it's like that. But in England, you had to date a girl. When I say date a girl, know everything about her, take her to dinner, take her to lunch, take her to breakfast, take her to the movies, you know what I mean? And all these things. It was different. You had to learn how to do those things. Right? In Jamaica, you were I was known as, cute and handsome guy. So a lot of girls flocked me then, but in England, although you're cute, you gotta work. You know what I mean? You gotta date. You know what I mean? Of course, you may get away with one and two, but if you really see a girl that you like, you probably had to date her the right and proper way. So that was one of the things that, you know what I mean, was good for me, and something that I learned. You know what I mean, and it's something that I input in my life, and it's something that, you know what I mean, even up until this day, you know what I mean, have kept me a different way when it comes to talking to females. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, do you think that your experiences in England, like, do you think that it kind of helped you to deal with the transitions that you had to go through later on in life?
I would say yes. Um, when you are in when you're away from home, let me say this, when you are away from home, you have to learn how to cope. So it means to learn new things, right? You're in a new country, it is knowing how to, you know what I mean, because speaking patois, not a lot of persons would understand your patois, but because I was coming from the hotel industry, we would have learned how to speak properly to different tourists that come. So you're in England, everything has to change. Your way of talking has to change. You know what I mean? Because not everybody understands patois, so you have to speak properly. So that was one of the things also that shaped me. The next thing is being in a multicultural society where you'd meet people from all walks of life. You'd see Africans, you see Indian, you'd see everybody from different places, Portuguese, and all of these people that are in the same place, and you have to learn to coexist with a lot of these people. So no, you know what I mean, based on the fact that yes, you worked in the hotel, but you normally just serve these people or cater to these people because it's a part of your job. No, you're actually living with these people and it's not your job anymore. So you have to cope with living with them. And you know what I mean, you may face, you know what I mean, different kind of, you know what I mean, racism was where the first place that I saw racism was in England when the same guy that Sri Lanka guy, Abdul, um, a guy called me a gollywog. I never knew what it was. So I was laughing. Yeah, I was working in a metal treatment plant in Birmingham over in Bosley Green. And this white guy called me a gollywog. He was a supervisor. He called me a gollywog. And it was Abdel who got really upset. And, you know, everybody has to be holding him. And I'm trying to find out what is happening because I'm seeing him getting mad. He's getting red. He wants to punch the guy out. And I'm like, why is he getting so mad? And it was when he came back to me and he said, I see all the managers coming towards me now. And I'll be like, what the hell? You know what I mean? What's happening? And he said to me, Al, you know what it means, a gollywog mean? And I said, no, I don't know. So it was a cartoon in England with a really dark, not dark, but black. The characters are so black, and they call it a gollywog. And it was one of the worst racism name to call somebody in England, and I never knew. So that's when the first time I've experienced racism, and you know, what I mean, he was pretty mad. Al, don't let nobody call you no gollywog. Yo, that he's a racist and all of that. Supervisor guy got suspended for I think 2 weeks, and you know, what I mean, everybody was catering to me because you know what I mean, if it was some people, because remember I'm in a strange land, you know what I mean? But if it was some people, they would have reported it and they would have had a good cash flow going home with. I never knew about suing and all these things, but you know what I mean, they cater to me and they treat me well based on just somebody calling me a gollywog. So I never knew it was a racism word or the worst racism word in England. So I learned that also.
Well, I learned something new because I always say, like, every episode, I learn something new. So I learned something new today because I've never heard of that before. But hey, so let's dive into the book.
Yes,
'Cause-
ma'am.
All right. So the title, Born in the Ghetto, what
Mhm.
does that really truly represent to you?
It represents hardship. It represents pain. It represents where I almost lost my life, right? It represents friendship. It represents, you know what I mean, where life started. A lot of times when somebody said they're born in the ghetto, even though it's kind of different because, again, things would have been evolved, and the experience that they have now is not the experience that we had then. So when I see born in the ghetto, where I was born, I was actually born in um, Jamaica, Montego Bay, St. James, Salt Spring. It was the ghetto. It was a place where I would have watched a guy pass, and you know what I mean, he passed, and a few minutes later I hear banging sounds, and he was dead. So you know what I mean, it represents a whole lot. Just seeing born in the ghetto, or just the caption born in the ghetto, and it's also a place that I am from. I am not ashamed to speak about where I am from, because it is where I'm from that has shaped me into being who I am today.
Most definitely. As a country girl, I can totally relate to that. I wasn't born in the ghettos, but I was born in the country and proud of it, right?
That is it.
So, so writing the book, did you find that process, like, going over everything you've been through, did you find that more healing or more of like opening up old wounds?
All right. So I don't take credit for the credit that is not mine. And I'm going to speak on this woman. Her name is Tara Simit Jarrett. She's the the publisher of my book. I met this lady on TikTok maybe about 3 years ago, and she she tried to approach me, but she never knew how calm I was. She thought, she always say, I thought you were a piece of shit. Put it in words, because she said, you know what I mean, how I saw you express yourself, you were a savage. And after she came, and she talked and she told me, you can do better, you need to stop certain things, I don't expect certain things of you, because we became friends. And she always said to me, when are you gonna write your book? And I'm like, soon. Every time, when are you gonna write your book? I got to a place where I said, yo, anytime she came in the chat, me start kiss me teeth. I said, what that woman, I hear this woman here again now. I bet as soon as this alive, I done this woman, I go message me and talk about when me go write book. I never knew that this woman would have seen things in me that I didn't even see in myself. And you know what I mean? She's a great person, one of the greatest friends that I met on the social media space. And this woman started to write my book based on my life, based on how I express myself, based on things that I spoke about. And you know what I mean? It got to the point, I remember she called me because we exchanged number and all of that. I also want to big up Mr. Jarrett, a man who has shared his wife with us, you know what I mean? In this time it's hard to find a woman who's married but have the time for other people, to encourage other people, to uplift other people, to build other people. And he's a great man himself. And I remember the night she called and she's like, read it. I said, we call her Mama Tara. I said, yes, Mama Tara. She said, I want the first chapter from you by 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. I said, all right, Mama Tara, no problem. I swear to you, I had a drink of stone ginger wine and I went to my bed. I went straight to my bed, and I got up maybe about 5:30 in the morning, and I sent her the first chapter by say about 6:45, and by 7 o'clock she would have sent me back the first chapter. Now remember, I am writing the first chapter. She knows nothing about this. All right, or so I thought. But because of how I expressed myself over on TikTok, she would have started to write the book. In 10 minutes, I would have had my first chapter from her. Everything that I sent her was sent back to me, refined and everything. And I'm like, how the hell did this woman did this? But as you talk about writing the book, there's a lot of trauma that I had that I never knew I had until I was writing this book. Now, I gave her 13 chapters in 3 days. Every time I talk about this, I said my computer, my laptop hates me because I was on the laptop drinking coffee day and night for 3 days. Every time I would give her, and so much would come out, and that's where I got a lot of healing that I thought I had gotten before. And just writing, I poured out everything in my writing, and that's when I knew, like, I'm like, whoa, I never, you know what I mean? There were parts of it when she would, I would send her one chapter, and she would send it back to me, and then we'd be on the phone, and I'll be crying, and she's like, yes, man, this is how we make big man cry, because she is so amazing in what she does. The first time I cried in this book was when the chapter with my mom, and this woman watched me on TikTok and knew everything about my mother before I even gave her the chapter. And she would say, I watch you when you sit. When you speak of your mom, you sit straight in your chair. And remember, that was the verse that had me, I had to get up because it was right here at my table. I had to get up. I went upstairs. I got a towel. The tears were coming. The nose knot was coming. Everything was coming. I couldn't stop it. I kept crying, crying, because I'm like, yo, like, it brought me back to, you know what I mean, everything with my mom, just as she is. She prayed for everything. If we had food, she prayed. If we don't have food, she prayed. If we were going to school, she prayed. If we're sick, if the rain fell, if sun was shining, she prayed. And just how she wrote that part and what I gave her and she put there, it was like boom. As I said, a lot of things I had bottled up inside of me, and just writing this book would have given me, you know what I mean, the peace I need, and also heal me where, you know what I mean, certain things that was bothering me. I was healed from it based on writing this book. So a lot of healing came through this book.
Most definitely. So, is there any part of the book that you like hesitated, like part of your story that you hesitated to tell?
All right. There were stuff that we couldn't have, we couldn't put it all, right? There's some things that would have been better kept out of it. You know what I mean? It was written, I didn't send it to her, I kept it for myself. But you know what I mean, as I say, it was my healing. One of the thing about the book is almost losing my life. That was one of the hardest part to write, based on the very fact that I shouldn't be here, to be honest, because the friend that I was sitting beside is dead, right? So I shouldn't be here, you know what I mean, based on the persons that came in the yard and they were shooting, you know what I mean, the guy that I was sitting with, the guy that I got up and ran from, or ran around the house. By the time I went around the house, my friend was dead, and there was one guy shooting after me. I came back up in another guy that was shooting after me. So that was one of the hardest part of the book to write, because it brought me back. You know what I mean? It was something that, when you try to um, just leave some things alone, don't think about it, because what I mean, you keep on seeing in your mind, rest in peace, or in loving memory of Reedy. So that was one of the hardest part of the book to write, to be honest.
I can only imagine, like, and as my friend Mel, who also has a book coming out soon, would say, certain things in her life she had to keep out because the statute of limitation is still not up yet. So we know that, there's certain things that you do have to keep to yourself because w- not only for legal purposes, but some people just will not understand. And you don't want your story to be defined based off of that.
Definitely, definitely,
So,
definitely.
what do you hope that, like a young man reading your book, what do you hope that they would take from your story?
What I want a young man to take from my story, or even a young woman, because it is not just for young men, it's also for young women who are born in the ghetto. Because when you're born in the ghetto, they think that you know what I mean, there's no hope for you. There's no place for you. You know what I mean? In terms that they would use, you're not gonna come to nothing good. You know what I mean? When you're born in certain place. For my book, I want somebody to read it and to know that, you know what I mean, there's always hope. The ghetto don't define you. You know what I mean? Where you were born doesn't define you. You know what I mean? There's greater things. We have known this for decades, that, you know what I mean, people that comes from the ghetto would have made it in life to be CEOs, doctors, lawyers, you know what I mean? In the army, being the generals, and all these things. So the ghetto don't define you, right? It shapes you into what you can become. And I want them to look at it as if, you know what, this guy would have gone through so much in the ghetto in his life, but look on today. You know what I mean? One of the greatest things to me is my daughters, right? And you know what I mean, when I look on them, and I'm like, whoa, I wouldn't be here today if I had just follow certain footsteps, if I had listened to certain people, but because, as I say, God was in it, and I mean, I know He was in it, because again, based on everything that I've gone through, based on almost losing my life, if God wasn't there, you know what I mean, as I say, I would have been a rest in peace, or in loving memory. So I want them to realize that the sky isn't the limit, but beyond the sky is the limit, and you can truly be anything that you want to be in life.
Most definitely. And just to let you know, your book might be called Born in the Ghetto, but even people who weren't born in the ghetto do connect with your story and understand your story. Because as a person born in the country and never really experienced ghetto lifestyle, except for like the 6 months that I lived in Orpington there in Toronto, but there's, there's a
But
connection.
definitely,
There's like, it doesn't matter if you're from the ghetto, still go out and get the book, because you will learn a lot and you will definitely connect with it, whether you're from the ghettos or from the country or from the suburbs. Like, it's a powerful story and you will find something in it that will connect you and educate you.
definitely, definitely.
So if somebody read one page, like if you could recommend just one page, right? From from your book, like what type of feeling would you want them to get? Like what part of what page and what feeling would you want them to get from that?
All right, so it would be the mother chapter. So to be honest, it would be about my mom. And the reason why it would be about my mom is because, yeah, I love that woman so much. That woman has again, um, the encouragement. We still talk every day, or every, like, not so often as we used to, but me and my mom used to talk 2 3 times a day. And you know what I mean, the encouragement that that woman would have encouraged me and my siblings, right? If we should fail in life, it's not because of our parents, but because we would have taken another road, and they led us because they're Pentecostal Christians, right? And this woman would have encouraged you about going to church, living for God. So if there's any part of my book that I want anybody to take, it would be love your parents, respect your parents. You know what I mean? Although they, you know what I mean, sometimes they don't treat you how you think you should be treated. You have to understand that without your parents, you couldn't be here. Whatever you're going through, whatever success you have, whatever wherever life takes you, without you having your parents, without your parents deciding, you know what, we're not going to take an abortion, we're not going to, you know what I mean, this, I'm going to carry this seed. Love your parents to the fullest. Honor your mother and your father to the fullest. You know what I mean? As I say, sometimes it may seems rough. Sometimes they may talk to you rough. I think, and I don't even think, I know, based on how my mother and father grew me, why I am still alive today, right? And I know it's because of the prayer of my mother and father why I am still here today. because again, I shouldn't be here, but because of the grace of God. And I feel it is what they have done for God, right? Why God would favor them to say, you know what, I'm going to spare your son life, right? So that would be the chapter that I would want them to take with them and hug on that chapter.
Most definitely. And you know what? Maybe that's my connection with the book, right? Because I have a really strong relationship with my mother because my mother was my mother, my father, my best friend, everything. My mother, once I moved, like my first few years of my life, I was raised by my grandmother. But once I came here to Canada, like my mother has been my everything. So I get that connection that you have and, the foundation and everything like that. So we're going to carry on. So I like for those who haven't read the book yet, who are going to read the book. So Reedy's transition went from he was in Jamaica, he went to England, he went back to Jamaica, and then he came here to Canada. So tell us about your experience, your first impression of Canada.
Oh, no. My first impression of Canada is so when I moved to England, I wasn't straight, but I came to Canada straight. However, I thought England was cold. I thought England because when I came here the same time, like just about when winter is over, heading into spring. So I thought England
Okay,
was cold.
let me interrupt you for 1 second. For those who are listening, when he says straight, he means document wise. His documents weren't he
Yes,
didn't have the proper documentation for England, but when he came
yeah,
to Canada, he had the proper documentation. He came as a landed immigrant. So, well, just to put that
ex-
disclaimer out there.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I came out of the airport, the breeze that blew on me, I swear I wanted to go back home. I never wanted to stay. I'd be like, hell no. Uh-uh. Me not do this. This worse than England. Nope. I want to go back home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was the first impression. And then I was because there was snow in England, but not so much, right? So when I am looking on the side of the roads and I'm seeing the big banks, mountains of snow, and I'm like, nah, man. I I'm like, I want to go back home. Me not stay here, sir, man. Do what? Oh, I can't leave sunny Jamaica coming to this a cold here. Come do what? For who? Why? How? So that was my first impression, you know what I mean? And going down the lonely road because I came on a late flight. So going down and I'm looking and I'm seeing the lights and I'm seeing and I'm like, nobody's on the road because it's this cold. No, man. Go back home.
It was like a cool run-ins moment when
Man,
he stepped out of the airport.
I'm telling you, man, it is a go back home, but you know what I mean? Just getting here, you know what I mean? Getting your mind settled, knowing what you really want in life, knowing what, you know what I mean? The expectation is of you too, and knowing that, you know what I mean? This is a journey. This is where your journey starts again because my journey starts over so many times, you know what I mean? But this was like the end. This is where you're going to live. So come on, work with it. So I had to, you know what I mean, get out of myself and say, you know what, determination, this is what I need and there's a reason in doing this. So let's get on with it. And that's when I started to where I am today.
So did you feel like each time, like each different country that you went to, like you had to like reinvent yourself, reinvent who you were, or did you just like expand on the person and the life that you had?
As I said, living in Jamaica, living in England, coming to Canada, it's way different. All these experiences are different experiences. Of course, you'll use some of what you have gone through before because no, I would have thought this is thought I knew how to dress to the cold weather because I was in England, but this is different. But again, I would know how to adjust myself until I got there. Um, yes, you're gonna use some of the experience from Jamaica. you know what I mean? Because as I say, you know what I mean, I worked in the hotel industry all my life in Jamaica, worked in customer service, worked in marketing. So, you know what I mean, being polite, being nice is one of the things that, you know what I mean, not being mean to people is one of the things also that brought you through. Um, um, yes, a lot of the things that you learn from Jamaica and England would have also used to bring you through in Canada in the first stage of being here.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to your media business and your social media and stuff like that. Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
you've built a really strong presence, right? What was your strategy, like, to for your like, what introduced you to social media, and how, like, what did you do to build yourself on social media?
So, so I have a friend group. I have a friend group it started with so many persons, but now there's about six of us. You have Ross, Renee, you have Miss Chin, Queen, and myself and Anika. So there's about seven of us now. Before it was a whole lot of us. Now Ross is the social media person. He used to have a huge platform on Instagram, one of the biggest. In the pandemic, he was on, we're doing our thing, and I decided to, you know what I mean, I wanted to be a part of the social media space. So I started off with cultural promotion first, where I would go live on Instagram. I would have interview artists from Jamaica. I was building, and also I started my catering business then. You know what I mean? Cultural food. I used to cater all over the GTA, where I used to cook on every Friday and go deliver food. But that's where it started. So, you know what I mean? I would have to give Ross, you know what I mean, recognition for one of the person who, you know what I mean, who I followed in his footsteps and say, I wanted to start social media. And then I head over to TikTok. When I went over to TikTok, I didn't know too much about TikTok, so I was there trying to go through, and then it was one post that I saw that I used, and it gave me about, I think, 4,000 followers. So everybody over TikTok was wanted to get 1,000 followers to go live. I had 4,000, I think 4,800 and some followers. I didn't know what it's about. I met up with one of my friends. His name is Jahim. I met up with Jahim, Jeremy, Evanor, a few more, and we started to do topics on TikTok. That's before TikTok was. This is about 4 years ago. We started to do topics. We'll talk the different topics, women and men, you know what I mean, and all these topics. And I remember being there in the comment section, and Jaim would have invited me in his box. And it started from there. And he was like, yo, really? You have over 4,000 followers, bro, and you're not going live and people want 1,000. I mean, I said, bro, I'm not interested in that. We would be there doing the topics until I met Sidero, and Ricky. As a matter of fact, I met Sidi, and then I would follow Sidi. I would go in a media space where I met a guy by the name of Ricardo, but they call him Dirty Ricky. And you know what I mean, it started there when I started to go live. We would play games together, having fun, all of that. And you know what I mean, I was one of the persons also who did gospel. So every morning I would get up and we would go live from 6:30 playing gospel music, praying before we get into TikTok and all of that. And you know what I mean, I had other people who we fell out and all of that. So I decided there was a stigma on social media that they think about Jamaicans. The stigma is we're ignorant, we're always cursing, we're loud. And I decided that I wanted to be a change where that is. So I created a platform and I said, what we're going to do on this platform is that everybody's going to mute their mic. Nobody will talk over anybody. Everybody's going to respect everybody's opinion. You know what I mean? Nobody in the box disrespect people in the comments and vice versa. And I started there. A lot of people said it wouldn't work, but I remember Ricky, Dirty Ricky, Ricardo would have said to me, read it, Anything where I do go work, he go work, just do it. When everybody was saying, "Oh, you trying to control people and all of that," and he must say, "Really, do it." And I remember I started at first. I mean, it was a bit rough because some people would still open their mic and talk until I got to a place. You open your mic, we kick you out the box, and then it started there. And for the last 2.5, almost 3 years now, it has been the platform that has set the pace on TikTok. It has grown. Um, um, we started off just having topics on different things until we realized that, I mean, women and children in Jamaica don't have a voice. And we decided that we wanted to give women a voice. So we named the platform Team of a Voice. So we would have women who have gone through rape, molestation, who have gone through abuse in so many ways, kids that have gone through abuse. I said we would be a voice for them. And that's where we started. And we started, I remember one day we had over 270 women in the box speaking about their abuse situation that they went through in Jamaica. So that's where we started, and we gradually grow, and people started coming. Everybody started. Some come, some go, some came, some left. You know what I mean? But we're still here, and we're growing. I started at 4,000 800. I am now at 68,000 followers on TikTok, and still growing. And what I mean, it has been a journey. It has been times when, what I mean, the topic was so heavy, and then there come Mama Tara again, who is that person when I go through a heavy topic, and what I mean, I let my, I call her on and I unheased on her. I don't know what she does with it. I don't know if she flushes in the toilet or she throws it in the garbage. I don't know what she does. But when the topic is so heavy and she sees it, take a breathe, read it, drink some water. Time to get off. Soon as I get off, you know what I mean, she'll be calling. You know what I mean, we'll be talking over what has happened. Then I decided that I needed to have a little team. That's when Ananda came in, Munchi came in, Gaza came in, and it's a four-man team, but it is very effective, right? So any topic that I'm going to talk about, we'll do a research, we will make the necessary calls, get everything together before we talk about whatever the topic is. You know what I mean? And for it is working. It has worked. It is still working. And I'm glad that, you know what I mean, I have met all these persons, still meeting persons on TikTok. You know what I mean? There's a lady by the name of Rising Sun. I met her. She's amazing. I've met some amazing people off TikTok. As a matter of fact, just before I came on, one of the guy who I met off TikTok just called me to say, "Yo, really, I'm in Canada." So, you know what I mean? So I have to go meet him one of these days. He's here for a week. I have met people that have flown from America just to meet me here in Canada. You know what I mean? Eddie Murphy is one of the person. You know what I mean? So TikTok has been good. You know what I mean? But when it comes to after everything is said and done, I still go back to my group. Again, my group, that group is very personal. It consists of about seven of us. You know what I mean? Two men, five women. And I tell you, that is where I go whenever we talk, we video call, we share everything in that group. You know what I mean? So that's where the media starts. That's where the media is going. It is good advocating. It is good that, you know what I mean, last year I would reach a milestone, which is writing a book. And, you know what I mean, the journey still goes on. I have just established the Read Media House. So coming soon. It is here, but it's, you know what I mean, I'm making sure I get everything together before I put it out. There was Miller Reading Media House that I was working with, Miller TV, that's Motivational Miller, who has opened a lot of doors for me, also put me into a space. There's also RC Consultant Limited, who the owner of that establishment also would have opened many doors for me. So, you know what I mean, I hope everybody, you know what I mean, that needs to get their recognition because there's a lot, right? So that's where I am now. And as I say, it's just forward from here. And I mean, great things. We have the Read Project 2026. So it's one Saturday in every month. I'm cooking for the poor. And I mean, I have a lot of people on my platform who donate and all of that. So it is great. It is great. It is great.
So, for the last couple of days, today especially, so I've been tuning into your thing, and what I've noticed is that you speak a lot. You speak a lot about women and children and thing, right? And a lot of the things that a lot of your subjects, whatever, a lot of people are opposed to the things that you say. Like like not to say that they're saying what you're saying is wrong or whatever, but they have a different view on it, and they challenge you on a lot of things that you say. Especially when it comes to male and their masculinity and how they are in society today. You want to just give us a little view of like what your opinion on male masculinity these days compared to before.
All right. So to be honest, the challenge build me. So I love when people challenge me. So when they come, I mean, if they're doing it in the comment section, it's either here or there. But when you come in the box and we can have a verbal conversation, it's different. Now, when it comes to masculinity and femininity, is that I mean, we expect men to be men, and we expect men to also I mean, wear, dress appropriately like man. We saw one of the things that is taking over social media is where we see men are adopting styles and think it's fashion to have a woman's purse and say it's a man purse. So that is one of the things that is causing a whole problem on social media at this time. We would see that we would see somebody who is a public figure in the media world would have had a purse, say it's a man purse, but we don't believe that man purse exists in our culture. We believe that purse belongs to women, especially the type of purse that they're using, and we feel like I mean, they want to just shift what our culture is and has been to something that they want to claim is fashion. So for me, I stand on my morals, I stand on my integrity, I stand on my standard, and I mean, if it's wrong, we're gonna say it's wrong. We're not afraid to say it's wrong. We don't care about the repercussion. Speaking the facts, so it is what it is, and we expect people to challenge us on it because I mean, as I say, I respect your opinion. I expect you to respect mine. So we don't mind you coming with your opinion, but what I mean, don't think you can take your opinion and shove down our throat because we're not gonna take it. We're gonna stand on what is right. You know what I mean? You have a lot of people on the platform who stands for justice. And I mean, there's a lot of people who is from the culture also. So when we see these things as men, we have to question it. So that is what is going on. People would have felt that the culture are we have evolved, so we need to change with time. However, you can change with that time, but you shouldn't change the standards that you live by, the core standards that you live by.
Most definitely. So uh in regards to, okay, so y'all make sure you go and check out Reedy's book. It's on Amazon. And while we're speaking about books, because Reedy's book is about evolution, basically. It's like, from where he started on to where he's at. And I'm just going to throw in another plug here, and I'm going to invite, for the last little bit of this thing, I'm going to invite Mel B to the stage because Mel B is also an author who has written a book called Black Butterfly that is actually going to be available tomorrow. Mel? Mel, are you here? Hey there,
I'm
darling. How
here.
are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Mel, sorry, I'm calling you Mel. This is Reedy. Reedy, this is Mel, both authors.
Hi, nice
Nice
Both
to
to
have
meet
meet you,
books
you.
Ruby.
available on Amazon.
hmm hmm How are
Okay.
you?
I'm good. I'm good. So, I've read both books, both of your books. I've read both your books. And while they're not on the, while they're not on the exact same premise, they are pretty similar in a lot of ways. I know that your book really is like your life story, while Mel's book is sort of her life story, but to protect herself and other people, there have been things thrown in and taken out, and it's a really powerful, powerful story. So, Mel, you want to just talk a little bit about your book before we end it here?
Well, thank you for letting me do that. My book actually is what is considered urban fiction, street lit. It revolves around a character named Ramel. Her and her hubby are, let's just say, street pharmaceuticals, trying to get out of the game, in other words, and they want pretty much a better life. They want to live a different life, and Ramel really wants to live just a normal, regular life. However, something happens, whereas her dream of having, the normal life, the car, the house, the kids, is runs against a brick wall. She has to take off the life that she wants and go back to her old life. And she's trying to evolve into being a woman, a strong Black woman. However, because of what life has dealt her, she's has to stay consistent in survival mode. And we all know that that's kind of a hard journey to get out of. So the book is really just about transformation, a woman's transformation, from darkness to light, but through the streets. I'll say that, because I don't want to give away too much, too much
Most
of the book
definitely.
or anything. But yeah, it's really just about a woman's evolution.
And the book is like, as they say in the movies, based on a true life story. So there's a lot of details and a lot of information in there. And that's why I wanted to bring her on, because both of these books are about evolution and transformation. It's just in different a different aspect, different scenarios. But
Right.
and I know Reedy, like myself, is all about promoting and helping and encouraging other people's platforms, as we all are. Mel is the same way. She's the
Mhm.
queen of sharing and encouraging people. Like, for the short little time that I've met her, she has been very encouraging and very supporting. And in, like, my in the things that I do. So, I
Mhm.
just wanted to pay it forward, as we all should be doing, and supporting each other and building, as a society, each one needs to share one, especially when it's a positive thing that's going on. So
Right.
that's, so you want to tell everybody where your book is available? We'll start with Reedy. Reedy, you want to tell everybody where they can get your book?
Yeah, man. So my book is available on Amazon. It is also on Kindle. It's in two versions. It's in the hard copy or the Kindle version. Once you go on Amazon and you type in Born in the Ghetto, it'll be the first book that comes up. It is available worldwide. So anywhere you are, you could get Born in the Ghetto.
Okay.
Okay, and Mel, you want to tell everybody about yours?
Yes. Once again, the title is Black Butterfly. It will be available on Amazon as well, as an ebook, in paper book, and hardcover. Originally, my launch date was going to be tomorrow for Valentine's Day. However, I got the proof in today, and I wanted to make sure everything was absolutely perfect before the release. So I had to make a executive decision, to launch it next week, because I didn't want to rush it at all. So when it drops, it's going to drop right. Um,
Most
and
definitely.
because it means so much, to me, this book, this journey. I didn't want to rush it. Um, and I want the launch to be an experience for everyone. I don't want it to just be based on a date. You know what I mean? I want it to be received well and be perfect for for everybody to enjoy. So
Most definitely, haste makes waste, right? And I completely understand about the fact that, until this is your passion project. You've been working on this book for well over 10, 20 years. You've been working on
yeah,
this, and to finally get it out there, you want to make sure that what you're putting out there is that you're happy with it. So understand that. So y'all, next week, you can follow my page. You can also follow Mel B on all major platforms, and you'll get the information. I'm always posting about it because like I said, I've read the draft of the book, and it is an amazing story, as is Reedy's story. So y'all make sure you follow them, support them. We support each other. That's how we grow, right? Support your friends and your
right.
family. My
Mhm.
quote in life is supporting your friends and your family the same way you support these celebrities who you don't even know.
That is it.
That's right. That's
So
right.
I want to thank you both for joining me.
Thank
And
you.
anyone have any closing words before we close down? Because I'm a little bit over my time, but they understand because the next show doesn't start for a little while anyway.
Yeah, man. I first. You want to go ahead? Let the lady go before me if she
Mel?
wants to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear him.
No, he said you should go first, ladies first.
Oh, ladies first. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I have just one more flyer to put out as far as my characters. There's 7 characters, so I'll be putting that out this evening, and then I will be rolling out the launch video starting Monday. So just be watching out for that. And once again, like I said, it'll be on Amazon, and you can get it in an ebook, paperback, and hardcover. And eventually, I will also have it in Spanish.
And you guys can also check out Mel B every Monday morning right here, Monday to Friday, right here
Mhm.
on Lux Radio with the Mel B Morning Show. Her show is actually an amazing show. It covers news, horoscope, Black history facts. She has Women in Business Wednesdays. She covers so much and supports so many people. So right here, www.luxradio.com, you will find the Mel B Morning Show every Monday to Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure being here. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You saw and you say, really, I have to have you. This is my first interview about the book, and it's received well. Thank you very much. Again, the book is available on Amazon. It is Born in the Ghetto, the Read story. So you can check us out. I'm on TikTok. I go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10:30 until about 2, where we have different topics. The name of the platform is Read Media House, just the same way. And you know what I mean? I'm looking forward for great things. I hope to see you again over here and do another interview because more books are coming. Thank you for having me.
Most definitely. Thank you both for joining me. And again, y'all make sure you follow both Mel and Reedy and support them because they are great supporters of everybody, and they have been great supporters of Gemini Goddess and the brand. So we appreciate that. And so I just want to thank everybody for coming in and for the support that you give me every week, and the support that you give my guests, and the love and appreciation that we have for you. And just want to say thank you for everybody that's tuned in, and hopefully like some of the people that have come in, you found a new home. Lux Radio has many different Lux Radio runs 24/7. There's music playing 24/7, and Lux Radio has a few shows. Like every day there's a different show on Lux Radio. On Mondays, we Monday to Friday we have Mel B show. On Tuesday we have an artist interview show, Kickback with Cookie. That's on Tuesday evenings, where she interviews artists, musicians. If you're a clown, sorry, language, but if you're a clown and you're good at what you do, even though I'm scared of clowns, she will interview you. Like, she highlights people and what they're doing, like any type of business. You know, you don't have to just be a singer. Like, she will, entertainers mostly, but if you're a chef, whatever, as long as you've got it, you're doing your thing, she will give you that platform to highlight your business and interview you for that. So we've got that every other Wednesday here on Lux Radio is, oh my gosh, what's it called again,
Women
Mel? I'm
Unscripted.
sorry. Women
Women
Unscripted, where
Unscripted.
it's, yeah, Women Unscripted, where it's an unfiltered conversation with, where 4 women, they sit and it's unfiltered. There's no topic is off subject. It's just basically, it's like a more modern, up to date, more realistic version of The View. So that's Women Unscripted on Wednesdays. Every Thursday is Chief and Go, and that's about go-go music, which I'm new to. I had no idea there was such a thing, but that's a DC thing. But it is also a very interesting show to watch. Of course, on Fridays you have Live and Learn with Gemini Goddess, and after Live and Learn with Gemini Goddess at 9:30 will be the Peace Podcast. So make sure y'all tune in for that. Are they on at 9 or 9:30? I'm sorry, hon. The Peace Podcast
9:30.
starts at 9:30 is a Peace Podcast. On Saturdays is Snatched and Savage. That is another show here on Lux Radio. And of course, music is always playing here on Lux Radio. And Lux Radio creates a platform for up and coming artists. So if you are an up and coming artist or a DJ, send your music. And if it fits within the standard, it will be put into rotation. There are a lot of unknown artists whose music is played on Lux Radio because we try to give a platform to everybody. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and have a blessed evening. Thank you again, Reedy and Mel. And y'all make sure you go to Amazon and support them. Good night, everyone.
Night.